So I'm going to show you the basic S-curve and some of the things you need to be paying attention to when you're actually cleaning the window. First, when you applicate the window, you don't want to jam it up into the gasket. If you jam the applicator up into the gasket, once you have cleaned the glass, you're going to notice water dripping down. So you're better off going and running parallel to that top gasket. You want to get the corner edges. That's where a lot of the dirt accumulates, and that's where you're going to have issues. With the squeegee itself, it's an aluminum blade. The pressure that's being applied is through the center, and the rubber on the glass always needs to be lubricated. Once the rubber gets dry, you're going to have issues. You're not going to be able to move the squeegee, or you'll get squeegee marks. So you always want to have the glass wet. When you bring your squeegee to the glass, you want the angle to be relatively shallow, meaning you don't want it to be a 90 degree off the window. You want it to be relatively shallow. That gives you a little bit more rubber surface along the glass. So you're going to go corner to corner and then begin the process. If you, we call it rounding the edges. If you do not go to the corners, what you're going to end up having is dirt that's accumulated in the corner and or water, right? And that's going to become visible once you're done with the window. So you want to go corner, make sure you go all the way to the corner, travel down the edge of the gasket, and then where your eye is always going to travel, it's going to travel with the top edge of the squeegee blade. So wherever you see water, so once I'm done with squeegeeing a section, I'm going to allow my eye to travel back up to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I missed something, for example, say I missed a big glob of water right there, I'll go back up. If my blade is still wet, I can travel back up, grab that water, and come back down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow with my eye that top edge of the squeegee blade. So as I make my turns, I'm keeping that top edge. That's where my eye's traveling with. My eye is traveling with that top edge. And then when I come to finish, I'm going to roll only at the very end, because you want to keep it nice and shallow as you're doing the squeegee. So again, angle is nice and shallow. I'm going within the field of glass, so my rubber is nice and wet, not along the edge. You're going to go into the field of the glass. You're going to go corner to corner. Then you're going to start traveling with your eye on the top edge. You're going to check your field as you go, and then you're going to just bring it above your existing water line. You're going to bring it above your existing water line. Now, one of the temptations, especially when you're finishing the window, I'm going to come down here and show you what some of the issues are when you're finishing a window. Again, same principle. You notice I'm starting down here. I'm going to go into the field as if I have corner to corner, and then my eye's traveling. The finish of a window can be a little bit complicated. You could be elevated a few feet off the ground, or you could be against concrete like I am here. You have two ways of finishing. You can roll the bottom or roll to the side. What determines how you finish the glass is really based on the particular of the glass and its positioning. This one will be relatively difficult because I just don't have the room being on concrete. I can do it this way. With the aluminum extrusions on this, they're about 1.5 inches. So in order to finish that, you're going to roll the squeegee at the very end of the process. You do not want to begin rolling vertically out here because you no longer have the pressure on the aluminum to keep the rubber against the glass, so you'll start gapping. So I'm going to just show you how to finish. So I'm coming down the window. Again, my eye is traveling to the top. I can feel that I'm running on the aluminum extrusion, but my eye is staying here. And I'm keeping it shallow. The last 3 inches is when I begin that process of rolling. Okay? And then I'm just going to roll off. You can, say we were elevated and this was a few feet off the ground. The way that you could determine if you didn't want to roll this way, say there was a wall here, you can travel along that bottom. Again, my eye's here. I'm going to roll down, and I'm increasing my pressure as I become more vertical off the glass. So as I'm rolling, I have to increase the pressure towards the glass because I'm losing rubber surface to finish that glass nicely at the very end. If you have a problem with finishing the first few as you're learning, you can always just take your towel, hit that bottom corner. Problem is, any section of your towel that's wet that touches the glass is going to leave a gray mark. So you always want to feel for a dry section of your towel where you can just, touch up something that's missed. In the field of glass, you really should not need to use your towel. It's just a matter of letting your eye travel back up to the field that you cleaned and swinging back up and grabbing that water. Okay, so that's the basics of the S-curve. This technique is for when you're beginning to learn the S-curve. If you're having a little bit of trouble with the larger turns, which isn't uncommon, you can use a smaller, shallow turn. I call it the butterfly. Again, same principle. You have to go corner to corner to begin the process. So corner to corner. Now you're going to do shallow turns. Again, you're always watching what your top edge is, and it has to go above the existing water line, right? So it's a small angle. You're not doing a large angle. You're doing a small angle. My eye is traveling on the top edge. Whenever that edge changes, that's where my eye travels to. I'm going to show you a technique for narrow windows and doors. Once you begin getting the S-curve down, you can do long motions. Again, same principle, corner to corner, down the length of the window or door, back up and back down, and then finish. So that's a nice simple movement.